spirit animal. That's my soul sonic force. But I have a different man with a different mustache that I sprouted from.
No doubt.
Man, look, the isms,
we feel the energy,
we
feel the presence.
Yes,
yes,
the isms
sir.
of the Bay.
Peace, how y'all feeling, brothers? How y'all feeling? Where y'all at right now?
Oh, yeah, we good, man. We good rocking with y'all, man, because, you know, y'all been putting it down, man. I was listening to one of your projects, and it's fire, man. It's like you carrying that energy, you know what I'm saying? You and Money B, y'all still keeping that fun energy out there. The sound is still consistent. And talking about the album that you dropped recently, or if not, your debut album, man, which talk about the solo fabulous imagination of Young Hump, man. Tell us what it was like working on your debut album.
Okay, well, look, see, this is what it is. See, the Money Being Young Hump album is like when the government puts together a special project and they be having that thing and, like, they just trying to figure out when the people going to be ready for it. You know, you've seen those movies when they got to figure out when the people are ready. It's for the masses. So, you know, we've been sitting there on that, tinkering with that to perfection. And it's like it's Einstein. It's think tank shit over there. Can I curse? Pardon me. I don't know if I can curse. Am I allowed to curse?
Yes, you can. Yes,
okay.
Oh, you good.
So long story short, we just sitting on that, you know, just getting that ready. And then what had happened was the pandemic came out, and a brother was really feeling, you know what I mean, like was really feeling like, damn, I gotta figure something out. So I just started recording my own thing, and you know, Money B. Matter of fact, 2 of the songs off the Young Hump, Fabulous Imagination Young Hump album, 2 of those songs were songs that were slated for early drafts of the Money Being Young Hump album, which we have a title for, but we have not made the title known because the title's so hard. They're gonna be like, we ain't letting nobody take off title from us, so we ain't even told the title. But anyway, those are 2 of the songs that I, you know, managed to, because we have some other songs that have, you know, filled that spot or whatever. So anyway, so that's sort of how the Young Hump album came, kind of as that. But the Money Being Young Hump album, you know, we listening to their ancestors, you know, the Dogon tribe and NASA and all of our various counterparts, the intelligence agency around the world is telling us when, you know, we confer with astrologists and, you know, things like that to figure out when the best time to release that album is. But yeah, that Young Hump thing is sitting there on Spotify. I may only have 20 monthly listeners, but them 20 smart motherfuckers, I'll tell you that, because my shit slaps. So that's what's going
on. Man, Young Hump, Money B, this is an honor. Simply, I mean, coming from Oakland, you know, Northern California, what y'all have carried on in a great tradition. Money B, you and what you all did with DU, man, was just fucking revolutionary for the spirit of party, the spirit of fellowship, the spirit of fun, man, especially during a time when gangster rap was so huge. But you all brought a different element to it. And even what you did, you know, with Raw Fusion and all of that, I mean, it's like...
Talk about it.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, Kings in North Carolina, I'm from Virginia, born and raised. It was just a great thing.
Well, you know, a lot of people speak about it like it was like this master plan and we sat down and we planned it out. But to be real, well, we were just being ourselves. And, you know, coming from the Bay Area, it was such a diverse area. And just, you know, we coming from Janis Joplin, Hate Street, Sly and the Family Stone, Prince, Sheila E., just everybody just does their own thing out there. So we just felt comfortable with being ourselves. And then, mind you, back in the mid to late 80s, all the main record labels and the artists were in LA or New York, right? So we didn't have anybody telling us how to do it. So we just kind of had to wing it. And what you saw and what you heard was us being our true selves, basically. We like to dig it.
Oh,
did y'all hear that?
Yeah,
now we can hear you. So when you came, so definitely when y'all came through that time in terms of what y'all were doing, like you said, there was really no roadmap, and especially considering the climate of where hip hop was at that time, because obviously you birthed Young Hump in terms of where he would end up following y'all's footsteps. tell us about that whole vibe in Oakland and all that stuff, you know, even before y'all met Pop and after you met him, and then just how you all took off after that.
I mean, if you want to talk about the vibe in Oakland, I would say just listen to me. I am the vibe in Oakland. You know what I mean?
Talk that shit, Money B. Talk that shit, Money B.
Say what you feel, do what you want, do what you like. That's really all it was. And, you know, if you're rocking with us, for one, you got to rock with us. For two, and we let you rock how you want to rock. You know what I mean? We don't put any restrictions. So you think about it. You know, you had myself, and I'm just talking about in the beginning, myself, DJ Fuse, Shock G, and then later on Tupac. We were all totally different. It wasn't like any of us grew up in the same neighborhood. We didn't grow up at the same time. We didn't go to the same schools. You know, we just came together on, can we make the best possible music that we can make, and can we make it funky? Can we vibe, right? So it was all about a vibe, nothing else. We didn't care how you dressed, what your religious background was, or any of that shit. It's just like, come on, can you get down with this? Let's get down. If so, do it how you do it. You know, what Short say? Too Short. The greatest from Oakland, Too Short. Get in where you fit in. You remember that song?
Hell
Yes,
yeah.
Sir. Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's the gospel. Get in where you fit in. However it works, make it twerk. Let's go.
And I like what y'all said about fellowship. That's one of the beautiful things. It's like, you know, we all love different types of music and different types of rap music and different types of messages. And some rappers, their whole shit is like, it's me and my 5 closest niggas, and none of y'all can get near us. Fuck. Underground is like, nah, baby, it's a party. Come through, bring whoever. We here. What's going on? And that's the beauty of DU, because it's really that. Like, it really is an open-minded vibration. Like, it isn't just partying for the sake of getting some pussy or some money or getting drunk. It's like we actually want to see what kind of people y'all are, what's going on. Like, and that's really how we are as people. Like, sincerely, it ain't no contrived, you know, gimmick. It's like we really fuck with people. Like that's just how we are. Like, and you know, I mean, all of us. You know what I mean? Like, so that's the beautiful thing, man. And from day one, and that shit has been maintained. So for me, it's just an honor to be able to join something like that. And then also, like, it's a blessing to join. Like, it's an honor to join anything that's as iconic as a group like DU is. But I was gonna say, to also, on top of that, they the type of motherfuckers that you are. Like, imagine if tomorrow, like I made a joke one time where I said, if motherfuckers had asked me, like, you know, ask you, like, what type of, you know, like, imagine if you asked every rap fan, like what, okay, you could pick like one, like, rap collective that they would just accept you as family, right? Just like you could pick, like, some motherfucker over here, right. I want to join No Limit. I want to join Wu-Tang. I want to join Dog Pound, right? A lot of times you be picking motherfuckers that really ain't the type of motherfuckers you are, and you really wouldn't be able to hang with them like that because they different type of niggas. And it's like, with just real shit. So for me, it's like joining, you know, the vibe. I mean, even the homies on the wireless spectrum of the DU extended family are like fun, people-loving people. You know, all the DU homies, there ain't nobody that's a DU homie that's like just the hella screw face, who is these niggas type motherfucking. It's some dudes that ain't, you know, they diesel, but they the friendly diesel. You know what I mean? Like the warm, like, right. What's going on? So that's the beauty of the family, you know.
Yeah, and you know, we put a record out years ago called "The DU Party Don't," because the DU Party Don't Stop, right? And that was basically, you know, our moniker, because, you know, you go see a show, right? Just say you go see your favorite hip-hop band or whatever, and they go and they give you a good 45-minute, hour, maybe even an hour and a half performance. I'm talking about old school, because nowadays these niggas only got, you know, 2 songs, right? They give you 10 minutes. But just say you go, but our whole thing was our performance was from the time we landed to the time we left your seat. So it wasn't just about that.
Right.
hour and a half that we were on stage, it was like once we got there, we was rocking, and we was rocking. Basically, we was rocking. So it was the show, it was the after party, it was all the way up until we left that city. You were gonna have an experience with Digital Underground. That's just what it was.
Yeah, and that's real too, because also on some real shit, and I can't stress this enough, a lot of motherfuckers be saying that shit because it sound good in the songs, but it ain't really like that. You know what I mean? Like, for example, we all got homies that rap, and they rap about how they them ladies, man, and you see them standing next to a bitch for 20 minutes and can't say nothing. I've seen it 1,000 times. Like, nigga, you on the microphone, you real suavecito, but in real life, she's standing there just waiting to be spoken to, you know what I mean? So it's with DU, it's really that. Like, we really function like that. Like, we might just meet some cool cats somewhere, and they be cool on the real vibe, and we might just hop in their whip and bail around the city and be doing what we do, like just real nigga shit, you know what I mean? And that's the beautiful, and not even just real nigga shit, just real people shit, real humans that have a good vibe. So that's one of the best things about DU, is it really the authenticity of the words being spoken to what you're gonna see when you see it in front of you can't be surpassed. Like it's there's nothing, you know what I mean?
And so what that does is, you know, you think about us years later, it's cities and towns we would go to every year, you know, for like 12, 15 years straight. And within that 15-year span, we didn't even put a record out. Does that mean, you feel what I'm saying? So that means that they weren't coming to hear our new music, and they knew exactly what we were going to do with the show. But they enjoyed us that much when they would come, and they became a part of the show because they knew what was going to happen. We knew what was going to happen, and then we incorporated them. It's like we created these relationships, and you know, we got our family, our crew that knows us, and that's how that is. You know what I mean? Like, wherever we go, a lot of times we got family in that city, and it's even starting now. Young Hump, if you want to tell them about Butter Go Harder, right, in Dallas. Every time we hit, you know, we get there, they show up, and that's the be. So what Young Hump sort of like is growing in that relationship is what we've been doing for the last 30 years, and it's great to see that it continues to happen.
Absolutely,
man.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say that that's the beautiful thing with you guys having timeless music, and with the beautiful thing behind having timeless music in the first place. You guys are still performing songs that came out 30-something years ago when they hit like today. So that just goes to show you the key to having a timeless catalog.
Yeah, the timeless catalog, and it's knowing how to establish real relationships with your supporters. You know, support the people that support you. Because, like I said, it's cats, and I'm not thinking of any artist specifically or trying to give any names, but you know, it's cats that they hot right now. They got the, you know, and I don't know what the biggest song, but just say somebody who got a really big song. Young cats don't understand that you won't always have that big song, and a lot of these fans, you know, it's a singles driven market. And when we were talking about, you know, why the Money Being Young Hump album hasn't dropped, is because, you know, right now we have been releasing singles over the years, and probably will continue to do so until we decide to drop that album, which we have. But, you know, the way that the audiences are now, if they like your song, they just like your song. They don't necessarily like you unless you build that, right? So when your song's not hot and you come back around, you know, and the way it's such a microwave sort of mentality these days. It's like before a person will buy your album and live with it for a couple of months and grow on you. These cats, they stream it once or twice, and then another song is coming out the following week. So they don't even get a chance to grow with it. So as hot as you are, next year, if you don't have that hot record, and you've only had previously one hot record, and you've gone to that town and you just treated everybody like I'm that guy and you guys are way beneath me, and that's usually how a lot of young people act because they're high on themselves. They don't realize that they're excluding themselves from a longer career than they could possibly have.
Right.
Man.
And to add to that too, you have the situation where there's some people, and this is not just so people understand. Like you said, we're not pointing at nobody, and also this isn't even just rap. We're privy to this information in other genres of music, but you'll have some established older artists that basically been going around since the beginning of their career acting a certain way. So when they go certain places, the promoters and the people there ain't really fucking with their energy like that. So they ain't really, like, there's so many places you could perform, right? That, like, you could, it's like people. Like, think of a venue like a person. You could be an asshole, but there's always someone new to meet. There's always a new, so they keep performing because they keep being new spots, and they have a song that, you know, precedes them. But it's like if they treat people good, then they going back to those spots. Like with us, we go back to certain spots. You know what I mean? We have regular spots we've been hitting because we come with the right energy. And, you know, we firm believers and practitioners of doing to others as you would have others doing to you. And that's just a general way to live life. And people get that together in their mind, in their business life, and stop, you know, looking at Instagram and catching these moods, like they just want to treat everybody like they over it, everything is whatever. Like, no, man, that ain't what it is. You got to treat people the right way because in business it really means a lot. But, yeah, that's DU shit. Our shit is fun anyway, so it's hard not to have fun with the songs these niggas done laid out. I just jump on stage and play my part.
You know, both of you said something so profound because it's all about it's about having fun, which is the spirit of hip-hop. And, you know, Young Hump, and what Money was saying about how the game has become so disposable in terms of microwave. We come from a generation where when you bought an album, it marinated like a good steak, or while you filleting that fish up on a fine female, you know what I'm saying, and you laid up, you know, grilling it. You know what I mean? So it's like once you done, you know what I'm saying? So it really, really not only were you listening, but it resonated to the point that it became a definition of your culture. It became the soundtrack for your life. It became the symbol of a generation. It epitomized the energy of the time that we were living in. Especially, you know, when people look at streaming to me is a trap. King and myself, we've spoken on this show numerous times about how there's nothing like having that physical copy to really treasure, to read the liner notes, to understand the inspiration and the intellect that went into that musical invention. And obviously, you know, you two are in the tradition of some of the greatest groups ever in hip-hop history to really, really touch a generation and influence. What is that like to know the impact that you all have had and are still having?
I mean, it's a blessing, obviously, and the way that I look at it, when I tell people everything that I do moving forward from this day on, it's all icing on top of the cake. Because when I started this, all I really wanted was to put some music out and for it to be respected, right? And hopefully somebody would know my name. You know what I mean? And you look back 30 years later, we actually have music that we have timeless hip-hop music. We've created something that will be here well past when any of us are here. When we're all gone, our music will remain. Like, people will still be listening. I'm very sure of that. People will still be listening to some of the music that we made. And I feel like I feel like we affected hip-hop. Like, we our footprint is on the culture. And I mean, goddamn. You love it like I did growing up. Like, and that's not even, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people say, you know, I'm not, it sounds like to some people they're like, oh, you think you, no, I'm just, that is the truth, right? We did affect the culture. We have made timeless hip-hop classics. that will be played when we're not here, and that's real. So I love it.
The man that's speaking, the legend Money B. This man's fucking already in the damn Universal Hip Hop Museum that's opening up in 2024. He's already in the building. Like, they haven't opened it yet because they still, painting the walls and putting everything together. But the nigga's in the Universal Hip Hop Museum when they in the Bronx. In the Bronx. Like, let's take a look at what we're talking about. This man is in 900 documentaries. You know what I mean? Yo, Money B is in Money B is in the Super Dave documentary. It's fucking Super Dave, the OG front dude on HBO and all that. They hollered at Money B, and Money B is the only hip hop artist in that. Like, it's beyond just music. It's like, it's the music, and that's the foundation, and that's the thing. But the music is like the music is like the flying carpet, and the person is sitting on the flying carpet, and the music takes them wherever. So Money B's, intellect, his charisma, and the same goes for Shock, and the same goes for Pac, and the same goes for DJ Fuse, and so forth and so on. It's like the place. Money B. Don't let Money B get to talking about his situation with the White House. Like, niggas been brought to the White House behind this shit. Like, brought to the White House. Not let me just pull up and see what I can work out at the door. No, brought to the White House behind this. You know what I mean? So, and I talk that shit, man.
No, I was just saying, while we talking about the documentary, quick little plug. So, you guys are probably I've seen the ad on TV. So there's about to be a new documentary about Tupac and his mom. It's called Dear Mama, and I think it's gonna be on HBO Max or is it FX? Okay,
it's FX.
So I stand corrected. So I stand corrected. He's in 900, and so I stand corrected. He's in 901 documentaries. You see what I'm saying? Money B's in 901 documentaries, like all types of subjects. The Super Dave documentary is not made by Mass Appeal or made by Q Vision. It's made by some people that wasn't thinking about rap, but they had to holler at Mun to get that perspective. Like, it's real. It's real, and that's what, it's amazing. Like, it's amazing. So, that's what's up.
Man.
And that's the World Guinness record right there.
Yeah. It's just amazing how California just sets all these records. Like Cocaine, Shot of Pomona. He's got the most features ever in hip-hop history. And, it's like over, I think, like, what, 3 or 5,000 credited features.
5,000.
Yeah, wow. And then also, too, with Money B, 901 documentary features. It's when you look at that whole California and even the Bay history, my brother King will tell you, I am a heavy addicted to the Bay music. Matt Dre, Too Short, D.U., Richie Rich, Mozzie, even though he's from, Sacramento, that's not necessarily the Bay, but that's still Northern California. Drew Beasley.
Rest in peace to Dame. Rest in peace
to
Dame.
Dangerous Dame.
Yeah. Dangerous Dame, it's to the energy that was, it's rich. CMG, Special One, Conscious Daughters, fucking Andre Nicotina, a.k.a. Dre Dog, Mac Mall, Young Lay, E40, her, coming out of Vallejo. Good Lord.
Yeah, man, it's deep. Forgot about the Jacker.
Yeah. The Bay is a special.
The Jacker.
Special,
Pittsburgh,
special
California.
Place.
Rest in peace to the Jacker. Yeah.
There's a lot of special places, but amongst special places, the Bay is special. It's like Bay is like a different kind of special. It's like, I made a joke one time. I said, I said, like, what are the things that I think of when I think of the Bay that makes the Bay so special to me is like in that era. Okay, I'm gonna try to paint a picture. When everybody was dressing like MOP, right? Where everybody had, I'm talking about like the 2000s, like Annie Up, where everybody had the big ass, super big bomber jackets, but like the nice ones, and they would rock the huge baseball cap to the front, like really low, and big Timbs and big baggy pants. The Bay niggas was still doing the ill bug out dances. And they was the only niggas dressed like that doing the bug out dances. Like everywhere else, the niggas was wearing that shit. They wasn't really dancing. So I was like, the Bay is different. Like, the Bay, the craziest niggas. And me, I'm a dancer. I was born a dancer, so I always interject the relevance and the significance of what dance means, because it isn't just like, oh, niggas is dancing. Dancing is a physical form of expression. So places where people dance, that's why black people dance more than everybody else, because we do a lot of things more than everybody else. Like we're the first ones here who created everything. It's like creativity. Dance is like it's like you so creative, your body just has to do shit. And so the Bay, when you look at it through that lens, who's fucking with the Bay when it comes to dance? Nobody.
Two words.
Everybody always been dancing, but say what?
3 words, nigga. The Fizz movement. The hyphy movement.
Come on. I mean, you know what I mean? And you know, and then it's funny too, if you go here, like, let's go here, the Humpty dance, right? I think it's safe to say, would that not be the biggest dance song of all time in rap? That's an interesting question. What's the biggest dance song? I would say it's the Humpty dance, because when you think of all the other dance songs, they're not really hitting in that ultra sphere of songs like that. Like, there's a lot of classic dance songs, but like really like that iconic and legendary. And that's some basics.
Yeah, because you can categorize it like what song.
Yeah.
Well, what song is actually a dance song that got big? Because we used to do the Biz Markie, but there was never a Biz Markie dance song. You know what I mean?
Right. A song where the name of the song, the chorus, and the lyrics are talking about the dance. Right.
And it became that, right? I mean, we can go back, like the Wrecking Crew with Dr. Dre and them. They made the Cabbage Patch, but they made it after the Cabbage Patch was a big dance. So they made it for the big dance. We actually our song created the big dance, because when we made the song, the dance didn't exist.
That's real shit.
And they still doing their dance everywhere to this day, because we could pretty much speak on that, because in the late 90s, we was going into the grimy thug era, the Screwface era, where people walking around with ice picks in their mouth. Nobody won't dance it at all, especially in New York. So for y'all to still keep that fun atmosphere and never change it up, that's very commendable, and that's a testament of y'all's true talent. And
good intentions too, because the thing about it is like we've all in our lives experienced ups and downs. It's part of being a human, right? And you think about some people, when they going through shit, they still keep a positive attitude and they try to speak words of encouragement. Other people, not so much. You know what I mean? So Digital Underground musically represents the voice of even when you listen to the song What's Up With The Love, right? It's like What's Up With The Love, I classify that as a energetic, melancholy song. And the verses are acknowledging some of the difficult things, but the chorus is speaking like, what's up with the love? It's not like there ain't no love. It's like saying, what's up with the love? It's reaching to the love. And that's from my perspective, the most, somber, melancholy moment in the whole DU discography. And it was a single. It was because it was a message that everything, there's a moment where shit gets so real, you're not, doing what you like. You're doing what you can. So that particular song, as opposed to other people's songs, their shit is the earth is burning, everything's fucked up, I'm down, this is it, I'm on my way out, goodbye. You know what I mean? It's like DU shit was what's up with the love, though? You know what I mean? And that's a beautiful, it's the intention behind that music. You know what I mean? It's the intention behind it. And that's really the thing a lot of people don't look at is music is based on the intention of he or she who creates it. You know what I mean? So, and Shock and Mun and, Brothers is brilliant. I wanted to make a plug for Money B. I got to say, the way he pulled out that Cabbage Patch, Mun is one of the most scholarly minded, this man, Money B right here, because you could take him, he could have the conversation about, what breaks were used when Africa Bambaataa and them was early just starting to make beats, and what, all the way through to talk about now what production, Metro Boomin or whoever is using. He stays through all the genres, his level of knowledge is like, I pride myself on my intense level of knowledge, and you know, like it's to be honest, I'm gonna just speak a bit egotistically, but it's rare that I'm really even talking to a motherfucker where I'm like, God damn, this nigga out here like really knows so much shit, because most people don't really dedicate their life to like really studying the shit and knowing it and upholding these facts and remembering. Mun is just like a walking encyclopedia of knowledge, but not just on like he can reference it and use it. Not just, some people know things but don't know how to use it. He knows things but knows, like, for example, some people, you could ask them a question and they're like, oh yeah, that's da-da-da, but they wouldn't know to bring it up in a conversation. Mun knows how to bring it up and has the associations. Like, so anyway, I just had to plug my guy.
No, we get what you're saying. And the thing is,
that's all good.
And see, that's the difference between being a sophist and a scholar. For those that know their Greek history, sophists were people who were just at a party, who were just taught, but they never said anything. A scholar has true intention, real philosophy, deep meaning, and a true understanding of what they're articulating, and they say it with purpose, principle, and with, most importantly, facts and truth. That's how you bring it to power in terms of your speech. Going about what you were saying about What's Up with the Love, there are two things about that song that resonate with me and King so much, me especially. Number one, it has one of the most underrated great pop verses ever up there, but also, two, that closing guitar riff was just fucking, oh my God. Whew. I mean, that thing still gives me chills to think about it. You know, that closing solo on that song was just like, wow.
Well, you know, that was Eric Baker. And Eric Baker, he played with Tony and he did a lot of stuff with what's Ray? Young Hump.
Ray?
From Tony. From Tony. Raphael City, right. And then he also had the Kenya Groove group, which is Top of the World.
Top of the World. Minister Society soundtrack, yeah.
Right. And Eric Baker also is the one that played. Yeah.
That was a joint.
So, Eric Baker. And actually, Eric Baker played a lot with Dwayne when Dwayne was doing his solo stuff. But Eric Baker is also the one who played the guitar on So Many Tears. That Shock G also produced for Tupac.
Man. In terms, looking at the musical history you all set and where it is right now, how do you feel about hip hop today in terms of where the energy is and how it's different, and even how it may be similar to what you all were doing years ago?
I have several takes on it. So, one, I always tell people hip-hop has always been a youth movement, right? So, you know, as I get older, some of the stuff, you know, if I listen to something, I'll be like, no, I don't understand it. Well, when I was 17, I didn't want my parents to understand it either, right? They didn't understand Run DMC and Grandmaster Caz and things that I was listening to. So, you know, I let anybody should be able to express themselves the way that they want to express themselves. So I never if that's how you feel and this is the music, if this is how you hear it, more power to you. So, you know, and I always support, you know, our youth, and I also think when I see older, like say my peers or older hip hop artists shitting on younger artists and then younger artists on all y'all old, it's just a divide that really doesn't need to happen, right? Because in real life, when I talk to young people, they want to know, but they feel like us elder statesmen, we don't respect them. Therefore, they don't want to respect us. But if you lean into it and try to listen to it and try to hear it and then hear what they have to say. Now, that doesn't mean I have to listen to it, right? There's a difference. It's because some of it, you know, I usually find myself listening to the things that I love over and over and over again. But there are some new artists and some new styles and new shit that I hear, and I even borrow from in my new music. But life continues. So whether we like it or not, it's not gonna stop. And but what I always try to caution these young artists is that, when we're young, we think that we're gonna be young forever, and we're not. And when you call, when I hear someone talk about an old rapper, I tell them, I was like, you would hope to become an old rapper, because you would hate to be an old janitor that used to rap. You'd rather be an old rapper than an old janitor that used to rap, because if you're an old rapper, that means something worked, and you were able.
And you're still doing it, and you're still able to do it. And
you're still doing it, correct. So I don't take offense to being called that, but I do always like to pull the youngsters' coattails and be like, watch how you talk, because you're not going to be 25 forever. And I've actually watched artists that I know go through that, because when they were 21 when I first recognized them, and now they're 35, 38, 39. And they have a different attitude.
What did Karis once say? No $5,000 love seat out of here.
Yeah.
No doubt, BDP.
Yeah, I think the perfect analogy is just when J. Cole made the song about that guy. I forget his name. He was big for it, and he just made the song with, what was the dude? Gucci.
I think it was Lil Pump. Lil Pump.
Gucci Gang. Yeah, Lil Pump.
Yeah.
And everything that he said is, look at it right now. Where's Lil Pump? And he said, I hope you say.
Yeah. And it's real, y'all, because, and we're not going to name no names on this show because that's not what we do in terms of trying to slander or slam people. But what you said, right? But what you said, B, is really like real, because when you think about a lot of the rappers from that that mid 2000s movement, from that snap rap movement, a lot of them, when you look at rappers even from 5 years ago who came out, it's like they were just a novelty act that was meant for a particular demographic. But what happens? Demographic.
Yeah, you have to be careful of that.
Yeah, they get older.
And I'll just say this last thing, and that's why whenever I encounter young artists, I try to share, because also us as older artists, we get mad because they're doing something different and they're not respecting the culture. But if we don't share the culture, how can they carry it forward? So I try to, share as much information, give as much advice as I can, because at the end of the day, these young rappers are black and brown young people before they're rappers, and we do want them to succeed. So if you're a rapper, because they make a lot of money, right? So if you can make one little novelty hit, and you could make a couple of $1 million off of it, I want you to do that, just in case you can't make another hit.
Right.
But don't have the arrogance as if just because you did that you're going to continue, and also that you're better than, or that something is beneath you. Because the worst thing that people say is like, oh man, well, you mad because you never made the money I made. Well, because the money back then wasn't there, right? When Grandmaster Caz and the Fearless Four and the Treacherous Three, when they were rocking, that money wasn't there. So by the time Digital Underground came out, it was beginning to be, the money was, it was at the beginning of it becoming a multi-billion-dollar industry. It wasn't yet, right? But we were making more than then. But then by the time, at the end of our peak journey was the mid-90s. So by 2000, when Jay-Z and DMX and all them came, they were, I don't know what you call it, they got to experience the fruits of the labor of what came before. But it's not their fault that they came into that time where the money was there. Right? It became a $1 million
let's go
industry in the early 2000s.
Let's go here. Besides Steph Curry and LeBron and maybe two or three other people, I'll let y'all pick because y'all the basketball experts. But aside from them dudes, name a single player who even, like, has even financially compared to what Scottie Pippen made. Scottie Pippen, for his contribution to the sport we love and what he did and the level he was playing at, the chicken scratch he made compared to what these cats made, like a lot of dudes that made 50 times what Scottie Pippen made and didn't even do a 50th of what he did. So it's like he's saying,
exactly.
you know.
Yeah, so you can't say that. So that's the only thing I'm like, never. And I'm not saying that because where I'm at now. I've recognized that at the very beginning of my career. You know what I mean? Like when we were very young and went to New York, I remember going to New York. I remember the night we went to the tunnel that night, and somehow we hooked up, and it was the first time I met Grandmaster Caz, right? And I had heard him talking about, Big Bang Hank stole Rapper's Delight, didn't pay him, and he never got the money, and this, that, and the other. So I thought he was going to be snobbish towards me, but he wasn't. He was open, and he was real cool, right? And I just carried that. So I carry it forward to anybody that I meet because I've been lucky enough to meet the pioneers that I know, and they were all pretty cool to me. Like they weren't bitter about it. The fact that we were making just a little bit more money, not even a whole lot, just a little bit because each year it goes up, right? So now young artists, they have to understand, like, just because one song can make you a couple of million, that doesn't make you better than Grandmaster Flash, who didn't do that, or Houdini, or, you name anybody. You can even say Wu-Tang Clan. If Wu-Tang Clan came out today, even though they make it, they would be making 10 times more, right? If they hit like that, because I don't think in 96 or whenever, 94, whenever Wu-Tang Clan came out, it wasn't
93.
You couldn't get paid. You couldn't get paid off of Instagram. You couldn't get paid off of being an influencer. You couldn't get paid. You didn't have openly, so many endorsement deals and this, that, and the other. You couldn't. When in '93, we really weren't performing at half times at NFL games.
Right.
Or Super Bowl.
Yeah. And I wanted to say this too, y'all, while we're having this dope dialogue. King know who's I'm gonna say, who was one of the unsung heroes who really opened up that door in terms of financial opportunities, in terms of endorsements, and he doesn't really get enough credit for it. And yeah, he's from Oakland. Hammer.
Oh yeah, and Hammer, he was the blueprint as far as Hammer was the first one to say, hey, I'm gonna capitalize on what he actually created. He had a television show. He did Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial. He did everything, and he did it. Well, we were frowning on it in the beginning, but now look, everybody's doing it, and it's the norm. So he was a pioneer in that aspect. But I want to shift it real quick because we're talking about the music today and the music industry. On the flip side of it, I feel like with technology and the way that artists have control of their career, meaning you don't need a label. You can get on, if you're savvy enough, you can make a career from YouTube or Instagram or whatever you do. It's so much at our fingertips. It reminds me of the mid to late 80s when it was only independent labels. Like, you know what I mean? We're pulling it back away from the corporations. Like, by 2000, you had to be signed to Universal, Capitol, or something. Or Arista, one of these big labels, because they had to press up all of the CDs or whatever it is to do it. So you needed that. Now we don't need that. We don't need that. I think it started. Give a shout out to Soulja Boy because he was the first one to come up off MySpace and YouTube. And then you go to 2000 with 50 Cent how he did it with the mixtapes, and then on the Jeezy with the mixtapes. And each time a new technology comes out, I'm just finishing. Each time a new technology comes out, somebody finds a way to make it work for them, and I like that. Go ahead.
Yeah, you know, it's funny you mentioned 50 Cent. You just read my mind. I was going to say was that I was just watching an interview with him, with Big Boy, and he was talking about when he tours now, he was like, he doesn't even need Live Nation for support. He supports his own tours, so they pay him. Like, as opposed, you know, he can pay for his own 18-wheeler to take some lights or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? He got that bread like that, but just, you know what I mean? And that's the biggest level, but the same way somebody can you know, you can do that on a smaller scale, you know, so exactly.
Yeah, that's why. Segue to the next question. Y'all would say that's a perfect segue to the next question, because it shows, when I looked at some of those clips with 50 when he was performing overseas, that they still appreciate that old music, that timeless, those classics. Now, when you guys going overseas for the first time, like, what is y'all favorite parts of the country that y'all went in on tour with?
Go ahead, Young Hump. I'll let you get it.
Favorite parts, wow. Well, I got to say, just, you know, off the rip, just Cali, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, but okay, aside from Cali, I would say, I'm really falling in love with the Northwest, man. The honeys out there, man.
I thought he said overseas. He said overseas.
Oh,
yeah, overseas. Yeah, overseas.
Okay. Overseas. Stockholm for me. That's where it's at, man. Shout out to my guy J-Ro from the Licks, man.
Sweden.
That nigga moved out to Sweden a million years ago, and I never understood it because I was a young nigga, hadn't seen nothing yet. And man, when I went out there, I understood player. So shout out to Stockholm, Sweden, and that's really all I gotta say. But no, I'm checking for London. I've been to London since I was a little nigga with my parents and all that. So we ain't. But as for where I've rocked at, Stockholm, Sweden, and I was fucking with Budapest, man. Budapest was lit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Man, I mean, but that's I mean, when you see about how the culture has grown and evolved, we're the biggest, the United States is the biggest exporter of hip-hop. I mean, that's our biggest export. When you see how other people have embraced it and how you see all these other nations and nationalities embrace it and put their own spin on it, what does that mean to show how far this culture has really come from where people said, you know, from its inception, try to say it really wasn't going to be anything? Because we're in a, you know, when it hits August 14th of this year, it's going to officially be 50 years since hip-hop started, as we know it. We're actually August 11th, I believe. But yeah, it's going to be, but numerically, we're in 50 years of when the culture first started. I mean, wow. I mean, what is that like, just knowing that it's still going strong to this day? How do you all feel about it?
Well,
I'm not surprised. Go ahead, Young Hump.
Me neither. Yeah, me neither. Definitely not surprised. But you know what's funny? It's like not surprised, but pleasantly, like, it's not the word right. It's not surprised, but like surprised without being shocked, no pun intended, or like not surprised because we knew it wasn't going nowhere. You know, a person has a child and they know their child's gonna grow up and they know that and they just get to sit and watch and just be like, wow. But they know the child is gonna grow up. Like we all know, but see the beauty of it is we all remember being told, man, this shit is only gonna last for 5 years. We remember that. And I remember when people would tell me that, and I remember looking at them and, you know, family members and stuff, and just they didn't understand, and I never really was angry at them for saying that. Even though it hurt, I just understood that they didn't really understand the difference was that you know, hip hop is truly a culture. And like, I remember one time somebody trying to compare it to disco, and I was like, nah, see, what people didn't understand was disco wasn't really, you could say it was a culture and it feels like that, but if you really look up the word culture and get into the, like my brother was talking about, scholarship versus whatever that other word, what was that other word you said?
Sophist. Sophist.
How you spell that?
Sophist. S-O-P-H-I-S-T. Sophist.
Oh, sophist. My nigga, that's a fee. You the first piece. I've read that word. I've never heard anybody say it. I was saying sophist out this motherfucker. But I was gonna say, so yeah, okay. So those of us that understand the difference, like culture has particular things to it. So hip hop is really a culture. Disco was a vibe and just a feeling, but not fully a culture. There were no rules and no fucking ideology to disco. You know, hip hop has fucking ideology and rules, and like people. You know what's so funny? Not to go long-winded, but
no, go ahead.
What's so funny is that people, when they talk about hip hop now, like it's rarely ever mentioned, but we all here remember. Even if we haven't thought about it in a while, we remember that the earliest thing in hip-hop that you were taught was the very first thing was don't bite. And then it was be fresh. It was literally don't bite. You'd be better off to be whack than be a whack-ass biter. So it was like don't bite, be original, and then be fresh, hopefully. So now, you know, we're in a different time where everybody's fucking fighting, but point being, so we had the culture, so to see the culture expand, and, you know, I made this post on Facebook yesterday. I said just because I was watching the hip-hop, you know, a lot of the 50-year shit going on, so I was watching this shit, and I was looking at shit, and I was thinking, like, what are the top 5 most significant hip-hop songs of all time? And for me, I'll just say you can't make a list that's respectable without Rapper's Delight and The Message. After that, the following 3, that's up for debate. But you can't get past Rapper's Delight and you can't get past The Message. Because motherfuckers could then say, well, you know, walk this way, or you could say this, you could say that. I mean, whatever. You know, that's up to you how you view it. But Rapper's Delight and The Message, that's we're here because of those 2 songs. But I bring it up to say, like, you got to look at shit like when the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air came out. It's conceivable that the theme song to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is one of the 5 most significant rap songs ever, because what that song did, kicking that hip hop energy into the daily life of the whole world, cannot be
the mainstream.
It really, like, you know, and I don't mean to say it. I don't mean to say it like this, but you could make the argument. I'm not here to make, and I don't want to like open up no shit, but I'm just saying you could make an argument that song had a bigger impact than like a Run DMC song. I'm not making that argument, but I'm saying you can actually argue that. Like, people are like, what are you talking about? I was like, I'll listen to what I'm saying, because not everybody heard. Like, I'm not making that argument, but I'm saying you can entertain, like, some shit you just can't entertain the argument. Like, we ain't gonna waste our time with that. But you can argue. So anyways, all that to say, you feel me? So to see what hip-hop became, and once it hit the TV shows, and once it hit, I mean, and as we all know now, everybody loves to say, you can't make a commercial without hip-hop music now. I mean, it's so to see it do what it did and what it continues to do, I mean, to see 50 Cent, this is the coldest part here. This is the type of shit no one talks about. Name to me a man that you can name, hip hop or not, that had an entire channel locked down like 50 Cent has Stars locked down, right? Like, I can't, white, hip hop, whatever. Now, I'm not a historian of television, and I know there's some other Ted Turner and niggas like it, but Ted Turner, that's his channel. That's the Ted Turner channel. I'm talking about a motherfucker who stepped to a TV station with some material. The shit became so successful, he expanded that show, doubled that show into 3 other shows, then brought another show. I mean, Power and BMF, the shit shouldn't even be called Stars anymore. It should be called 50. It's like, that's some hip-hop nigga shit. Like, so it's crazy to see what the fuck it is now. It's just crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah,
all original content at that, too.
Yeah, when I was talking about, you know, how music will be here after us, right, and it continues, look at the biggest record one of the biggest records today is that Coi Leray, Players, right? That's the message. Bro, like, how big is that? Message, one of the most important records ever, and it's still rocking. You know,
right.
It's going to be used forever.
Forever. I mean,
I didn't know that Coi Leray was Benzino's daughter. I just found that out recently.
Mm.
And you know, we got to take it back a little bit.
Look how on point Money B is. I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all. TV land, audio land, news land, media, TMZ, whoever's listening. I don't know who the fuck he's talking about. I don't know the song.
Right.
I don't know. I'm younger than this nigga Money B, but that's Money B. That nigga's on top of some shit. That's to my point earlier. That nigga's on top of it. I'm like, Quavo. When you said Quavo, I'm like thinking of. I'm thinking of a nigga named Quavo.
You know. It's Coi Leray.
Maybe I know the song, but
you hear it. You know the song.
Okay,
but when
maybe I do. But see, that's what I'm saying. Money B's on his shit. He knows what it is.
But also take it back to what you were saying, Young Hump, about the Fresh Prince in terms of the cultural significance of that song. We also got to remember this too. Fresh Prince and DJ Jazzy Jeff were the first rap artists to win a Grammy back in 1989.
Absolutely,
you know.
And remember how it felt. Remember how it felt when we saw him in Independence Day? We was like, yo, we
came up.
It's different now.
Yeah.
It's different.
And to see that transition because there was already a actually, even when you think back to the 84, 85 with LL Cool J and the movie Wildcats with Goldie Hawn, in 84, 85 we had Run DMC and Crush Groove. I mean, you had Michael J. Fox and LL Cool J in The Hard Way in 1990. So there was you had Queen Latifah and Jungle Fever in 1990. You know, so there was already a transition where you were seeing in the 80s and the 90s where a lot of hip-hoppers were already going into the entertainment field in terms of movies and television. But I mean, you know, of course, Ice-T in New Jack City. MC8, of course, was in Menace to Society as AWACS. I mean, it was wild. I mean, but to see Will Smith in Independence Day, because he was already in Made in America and 6 Degrees of Separation before that, and that was in 93. But when you saw him in Independence Day, it was like, yo, like this dude took it to a whole nother level of acting. Like we were like, and it was a box office hit. Like it really crossed over. Like people really were.
I think it started around when Bad Boys came out, because that was a summer blockbuster, but it was urban. But when 96 came, that's when, you know, the white people came in. It was like, okay, now he's going to be Mr. Blockbuster.
And then of course, you know, when the Don Mega, man, when Cube got on that Boys in the Hood, I mean, that right there knocked shit out of this. I mean that's the beautiful thing, because at the end of the day, it's like culture, art form, it finds the lights, and you know, it finds the people that have something that the world wants, and these people are attracted to the culture. Because you think about it, all these people we've mentioned, every single person we mentioned in this conversation, if it wasn't for hip-hop, if hip-hop didn't exist, they would have found their magnetism in another field. That's what I believe. I don't believe it's like, I believe, you know, that's just what I believe. I don't believe that, like, because people will say shit like, oh, if it wasn't for hip-hop, I would just be out here doing nothing. I don't necessarily believe that's the case, but that's a whole, I mean, there's no way to really answer that question. But what I'm getting at is these people, these individuals with these talents and these abilities and these things to express, they come in, let's say, via the music, and then get into other things, you know, become authors, you know, movie stars, writers of TV shows, all types of shit, you know, other types of products. I mean, fucking LL and Cube was going to buy radio stations and put out, I mean, TV channels. I mean, there's so many things that people do, and it's just so beautiful to see, like, are people diversified, especially those that are more, you know, more intelligent and more open-minded, and just, you know, realize their potential. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. You know what I mean? It's just beautiful. And that's why, so you think of these people, like, I mean, could you imagine if you could go back in time when Cube was rapping on gangster, and imagine what he would be now. I mean, when you first heard Will Smith rapping about, I think I could beat Mike Tyson, to think about what he is now, like 50 Cent when he was just some mixtape nigga who's been popped a few times on how to rob a rapper. Now he runs. I mean, it's crazy, and the list goes on.
Yeah, he done turned stars into the black HBO. You didn't think you would ever see that.
It's really
and
amazing.
He elevated the station for sure.
Yeah, and it's like, and it ain't over. And it's like, and then here's another thing too, is this. For every 50 Cent, there's 500 people that could do, I mean, more than that, but I'm going to just keep it without it getting too ridiculous. Let's just say for every 50 Cent, there's 500 people within the hip-hop world that have names that could do as much as he's doing if they had some of his bread and resources. Because that's another thing, too. It's like, Puffy ain't the only nigga with a good ear that likes fashion, is down to get up early in the morning and bark on some niggas, But Puffy is the man that got what he got to where he could do it. Now, 50 Cent, Puffy, Master P, et cetera, their hustles are unmatched, and you can't take anything away from them. But what I'm saying is there are a lot of people with a lot of ideas. So the same way like Money B was talking about in 1989 and 1992, the money wasn't there like it is now. But there's a lot of people that had a lot of ambition and ideas that couldn't make a lot of things they had in their mind happen. And now we have, every week, it's more and more ways that people, and because of the technology and the connectivity and the resources and the money and these people out here writing checks, seeing that shit generates money, there's more opportunities that you can take motherfuckers seriously. Like a guy like Nipsey Hussle, you know what I mean? I'm from L.A., knowing where he comes from and the reputation that his gang has, for him to take it to where he took it is like nothing short of impossible coming from the 90s. Like, it was unthinkable. But we're in a different age. He made his moves at a time where, and he kicked the door open for himself, but the door had already been kicked open a lot more compared to it was when, let's say, Snoop and them came out. Because back then, it was different, So all that to say is, I'm just saying there's so many other people that have things in their mind that they could do. They might not have the bread, but the bread is closer to them now than it was in 1989, et cetera, in 1979. It's amazing. So that's the thing that we all have to keep our optimistic shit as high as we can, because like one said, I mean, a guy like Soulja Boy, I mean, he's a walking TED Talk. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing.
It is. I mean, when we think about what Nipsey accomplished, and it's still one of the highest points of inspiration for us before his passing, that he saw one of our shows, he listened, and he co-signed us. Nipsey was the epitome of the neighborhood nigga that made it big. His first deal with Sony didn't go so hot, and then he just said, fuck this, nigga, I'm going to go on the street with it and do my own shit. And look what he did. I mean, he built it, from Bullets Ain't Got No Names to Blue Laces. I mean, all the music that he did at an independent level and the level he was moving at was just wow.
It's amazing. He did it without a big cosign.
Well, bro, that's like I'm telling you, like, we always think of ways to do it, right? So you go a Nip, a 50, a Jeezy, Soulja Boy, you name it. Like, we just figure a way. You know what I mean? And that's what hip hop is. It's like make a way with what's given to us or what's available, and make it crack.
Well, there's an intrinsic link with the street culture and hip hop, because it's about the streets being unforgiving and hard, but also finding a way out of it in terms of being resourceful and having a means of survival if you're going to make it happen no matter what. And that's what it's all about. Hip-hop is a street culture. It came from the street. It's rooted in the streets. But look how it showed us in so many multifaceted ways of enterprise, of creativity. It blossomed like a garden of genius for everybody who had a real understanding and appreciation for the art, the culture, the craft, the science, the elements of it. It energized those that it came in contact with, and it gave inspiration to countless people to identify with something that, while they may have not necessarily grown up in that environment, they respected the artists that came from that and appreciated it for what it was, true art.
Word up. All right, so, man, we could talk about this all night, but a little bit. No, for real. That's what's up. But I'm gonna try to have a little bit of dinner with my family before I have to pack.
Understood.
Yeah, we got to
for a show tomorrow.
Yep.
So we got to get it ready. But let's get the closing.
We're gonna have a part two. We're gonna do a part two.
Okay.
Yeah, the part two would be dope.
Oh yeah, because we'll probably be in full swing of the single and all that stuff and everything. But I will just leave it out there because we are, Young Hump and I, we do so much together and independently that I would say, for me, follow me on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok, on Twitch. Look at me, I'm old. At MoneyB69 across the board. At MoneyB69, like the position. MoneyB69. And of course, you can follow Digital Underground on Facebook. I know our demographic is Facebook friendly, so we have the Digital Underground fan page on Facebook. I'm always checking the messages, so if you hit it, I will see it. All right, go ahead, Young Hump.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, Young Hump DU, and that's DU for Digital Underground, and Young Hump is spelled correctly. Young YOUNG HUMP DU, Young Hump DU, Instagram, Twitter, all of that, man. Catch me at your local farmers market talking to something pretty.
Yep. And if you're nostalgic and you want to know, if you really want to tap into just our history, definitely tap in. We just acquired this. This is Digital Underground Official on Instagram. I think it's Digital Underground Official on YouTube, and on Twitter it's Humpty Funk. We try to tie everything together, man. Digital Underground is a conglomerate. It's more than an army or a navy. It's a nation. So we definitely want to tap into everything that we all are doing. So that goes for our extended family, Loonies, Mystic, H. and Gregory, TNT Records, solo piano group, even the East Oakland Collective, who carry out Feed the Hood in honor of Shock G, because he was so involved and concerned with the unhoused. So, we're out there still very active, and if you hear about Digital Underground in your town, you definitely want to come see us. Say what's up to Money B and Young Hump. We in the building. All right?
Absolutely.
Definitely, man. We definitely appreciate you guys joining us. It's been a great, solid build. We looking forward to you keep supporting y'all. Big shout out to MJ for setting this up and making this happen.
Absolutely.
And we're definitely behind you brothers all the way.
Absolutely.
It is.
Appreciate y'all brothers, man.
Appreciate you, man. God bless the both of you. Thank you again.
You got it.
Likewise. We'll talk soon. Peace.
Yes, sir.
All right. Y'all take care.
All right.
All right.
Brother King, take us out of here, man.
Dope show. Catch us tomorrow night, same time, same Off the Cuff Radio channel. We out.
Yep. Peace.
Absolutely.